Grand Rising, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us this morning. At 9 o'clock a.m., we will close our social media and continue on Zoom only. Join us by getting your Zoom link at elizabethvisionaryconference.org. We'll be there until 10 a.m. You can join us now, and we'll see you in the Elizabeth Zoom room. Today, your hosts are Razia Curtis and Andrea Hetheru. Enjoy.
Hetheru.
All right, greetings, everyone. It is a brand new day. We give thanks for it. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to have a Monday Tuesday this Tuesday. We have our guest Prostell today, and we are going to begin with some movement. Okay, so we're just going to do some things in our chair. We're going to do a little head, neck, and shoulder, and little finger work. Okay. So let me put on a little music. Hold on 1 second. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Let's get a little sound. So just do some breathing right now. Inhaling through your nostrils. Make sure if you're sitting down, have your feet grounded on the floor. If you're in the bed, you can fold your legs or just have them hanging over the side. Make sure you're comfortable. Your shoulders should be up, around, and down, and your chest should be up. Chin parallel with the floor and face pleasant. Okay, so let's go ahead and inhale through the nostrils. Take a nice deep cleansing breath, and then when you're ready, hold it for a couple seconds and then release it out of your mouth. Okay, let's do that again. You want to make sure that also when you're breathing, you want to breathe from the diaphragm and also move that core. You want to take your core and push it down towards your base chakra, your root chakra. And then when you exhale, you want to pull it back up behind your belly button. So let's see. I'm going to go with a little bit of Alice Coltrane and Company. Special guest today. You didn't know we were going to have a special guest. All right. All right. Let's just get comfy. Make sure your shoulders are not earrings and take them down a bit. Inhaling and exhaling, moving that core as you do that. Okay, let's go ahead and take our head down. Just take a gaze, tuck chin to chest, and hold it there for a couple seconds. And exhale back. Gently, be gentle with yourself. Just do a little body scan and see how you're feeling. Take it back down. And then up. Chin up in the sky. And down. And up. At your leisure. Keep breathing. All right. And one last one. Now we're going to look left to right. Take your gaze to the left. And then right. And left. And if you're holding your body tight, loosen it up right now. Loosen up that face and right. Inhaling and exhaling. Loosen that body. In your next movement, we're going to take that ear over the shoulder. And make sure you take the ear to the shoulder. Leave the shoulders in their place. And just over the shoulder, left and right. Stretch. And relax the body. Now we're going to drop the head gently and just go all the way around and assess how you feel in the different spaces. If you hear a snap, crackle, or pop, we want to say, uh-oh. 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 Nobody getting any uh-ohs? All right, now we're going to go back the other way. Once you do 4, go the opposite direction. So yeah, some people may have their mics off. So if you do have a snap, crackle, or pop, just say uh-oh to yourself. And remember where it's happening. All right, once you're done with your last one, the opposite direction, just take your head up straight and just shake it out a little bit. Shake it out. Now we're going to do our shoulders. We're going to lift our shoulders, take them back and drop them down. Bring them back up around. So we're making a vertical circle. Take them back. Really squeeze. Make sure you're still breathing and still doing that core movement. And when you finish forward, and you go the other way, drop them down front, lift them up, take them to the back, and lift them up and over. And rest and shake that out. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, so we'll bring those fingers up. We're going to do finger touches because we work on computers all the time. So you're just going to touch your pinky, ring, middle, index. Just keep going. Still breathing. All right, now we're going to put our hands together and lace the fingers, and we're going to roll our wrists. And opposite direction. I don't know about you all, but I'm already working up a little sweat here. Wrist circles. Opposite direction. And let's wrist right and left. Up and back. And jazz hands. Thank you so much. And we'd like to say thank you to Alice Coltrane for being our special guest today. Yay. All right. So, Deidre, did you have any messages that you wanted to give us? Any words of wisdom this morning that you thought about?
Thank you for the opportunity to share. I just want to thank you for leading that because I felt good. I mean, it felt good to move certain parts of my body that, you're right. We just go and go and go and don't take time to even acknowledge, parts of our bodies that, they help us, our hands, our neck and everything. So thank you, honey. I appreciate that.
It looks like the crew's all in. Again, welcome to everyone who has just joined us. I hope you have a little glisten going, meaning that you did a little bit of work this morning. Remember throughout the day to keep your forehead from scrunching, avoiding those lines. So keep your face pleasant if necessary, but just be conscious about that. Okay. And I remember when I was young, I used to get mad when people would tell me to smile. I was like, I don't want to be fake and smile. But when I got older, I realized that smiling is exercise, because what happens to the face with gravity? So just remember that. Keep your face taut when you're not paying. When you think about it, just go, oh, am I taut? Is my face taut? And just do that. That's a little bit of exercise. So we'd like to thank Sister at Peace for coming and joining us on our first Monday, Tuesday ever at the Elizabeths. And it's about sharing, because sometimes when the message needs to be put out, we have to do whatever we can to make sure that it gets done. So that's why I decided to ask if we could have a Monday, Tuesday. All right, take it away, Mama.
Monday, Tuesday. Hey, y'all. Hey. How y'all feeling this morning?
Good.
Good.
Great.
I feel good. I went outside in the sun this morning. That'll change your life. And today is a very special day. Who knows what today is? My sisters should know, because I invited y'all somewhere today.
Summer solstice, solstice.
The summer solstice, summer solstice. You can't feel it? Like,
I know.
I woke up this morning on 10. Like,
oh, you see, I'm almost outside. I'm almost there. Almost there.
oh my God. I am feeling the shift. I'm loving it. I hope you all are feeling it too. So if we're doing a Monday on a Tuesday, then y'all already know how I roll. First things first. What's your word for today? Check in. Be present in this moment. Not the words you think you should grab or the words you like to grab. Take a deep breath, ground that energy, and one word to describe where you are right now.
Glisten.
Shining.
Grateful.
Joyous.
Where you at, Libby? No, Libby. Okay, it's cool. Prostell, what's your word?
Patience.
Patience. Evelyn, did you give a word? Deidre, did you give a word?
Yes, I said grateful.
Grateful, yes. What'd you say?
Happy.
Happy. Okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of this.
Sweet.
Sweet. Ah! Okay. Well, like my sister Het said, today is a Monday on a Tuesday. So Monday on Elizabeth, what do? Mommy Mogul Mindset. Woo woo. And we talk about everything it is about being a mom and being a great mom, being a mogul and being a great mogul, and having the mindset to do it all. And even if that's not your goal, if you're not mommying children or mommying a business, then maybe you have something else going on, maybe something a little more, dear to you that you have to work through and you have to get to the other side. Well, you want to be successful, right? In whatever you do. So this is the channel, or this is the time for you to get the motivation you need, to get the encouragement and all of that. So for this month, we have themes on Mondays. And for this month, the theme is 2 women from men with love. So we have all these conversations in society about men and women and relationships and how they're supposed to get along and, who's right and who's wrong. I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to show a different side of our relationships. I mean, not all of us are beefed out, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to share that side in honor of Father's Day. I decided, hey, why don't we have men come on our show who are positive, who are encouraging, who are great fathers, because it's Father's Day, and who have something to pour into women. who have something that they want to share with us to make us better, to help us be whole so that we can be whole for them and we can all be whole together. You see what I'm going with this? Oh, okay. So last week we had a wonderful guest on who helped us a lot in our business. But today, or this week, thanks to Mama Het, we are sharing with you our special guest, Prostell Thomas. Y'all give it up for Prostell. Yes, Prostell Thomas is on today. He is someone who I truly admire in the community. I've known him for many years. And even though we haven't had a whole lot of up close and personal encounters, the encounters we have had over the years have been very impactful to me because they've always been positive. Like I can't think of one time when Prostell has not poured into me in a positive way, had something empowering to say, encouraging, pushing me forward in some type of way. And I really appreciated him for that over the years. I don't know if you knew that, Prostell, but seeing you sometime helped the sister out, okay?
I have a very similar experience with you.
Oh,
and I say, we're one another's reflections. So
Ashe, thank you.
A lot of times what you see come back to you is you, but yeah. Man, same.
Thank you, Prize. So today he's an awesome artist. I met him on the poetry circuit. He's an awesome artist. As I learned, he's an awesome father. He is an activist in the community. He's all about mental health right now and making sure that we here in Detroit and within our diaspora understand the importance of a healthy mental. And what I love is that he's going to bring a perspective to us today that's all about the male perspective and really helping us to understand as women what our men are going through so that we understand, knowledge is power. So when we have true knowledge about what's going on and we can hear it from the horse's mouth, now we have the power to get out here in the world and to encourage our men and to support them and to give them what they need. We need to have these conversations, and I pray that we have them more as time goes on. So without any further ado, I'm not going to hold us up. We've been waiting for you. We've been chomping at the bit for you, sir.
Man,
you come on through. Y'all welcome Prostell Thomas.
Peace. Thank you. That's such an amazing intro. I'm gonna try to. I don't even know what to say. I'm like this guy you just described. Come on, he sounds awesome. No, I'm honored. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be invited. Like you said, I feel like I'm. Everything you said about me is true, and what I will say is I'm a product of the village here in Detroit. As I know you are. As I know, there's other people on the line that I just feel like we grew up together in the sense that, we started this discovery of knowledge itself, early on at whatever age we came to it. I know the age I came to it, and I know the spaces I came to it in, and you continually come back to these spaces, whether it was Black Star Bookstore, In Soroma, or any of the many places we have in our city that are about enrichment for our people, and you see the same faces over and over again. You start to realize, like, oh, well, if I'm here and if I see at peace, I must be at the right place, because I know, what I'm saying, I'm not bumping into her at the club. I'm bumping into her at the, not that we didn't ever go have fun, but when it came to time to show up and be active for ourselves and for each other, I know you and a lot of the sisters on the line of people that, like I said, I feel like I've grown up from a young father now to, to a not as young father as I once was. So I'm honored to be here and share the space and the platform. And, whatever light I can share, whatever I can gain, I'm excited for this morning.
Ashe, thank you.
Yes,
well, ladies, if you all have any questions as we go along, you know how we do. This is a very interactive space. So do not hesitate to raise your hand and to jump into the conversation. So my first question would be, how I want to talk about you personally. If there's anything in particular that you can point out in your upbringing that you feel was kind of the catalyst for your identity. Where did your identity as a person, not just a Black man, but as a person come from in your upbringing? Was it matriarchal? Was it patriarchal? Where did that come from initially for Prostell?
Well, that's kind of a broad question. I guess the simple answer is like most people, it's a combination of all of those things. My mother, I'm a mama's boy. So, growing up in Detroit, it was me and my mama and my sister. And also at the same time, my mother, it was the 80s. And, my mother she was trying to find her way as a young mother in the 80s with two small children. From the North End, trying, she was young, so she was still making her share of mistakes and growing pains and things of that nature. And we were right there with her, growing up with her. So I think in one aspect, it's my mother, and of course my grandmother was, she was around. My grandmother's is where I got my interest in community service, where I learned. My grandmother was she was at Sacred Heart Church. Her name was Loretta Murphy, and she definitely was a standard bearer in terms of, like, we got to go up here and we got to help out the homeless this week, and we got to go pick up these clothes at this church and take them over there. But we in the struggle too. So while we pick up these clothes, we're gonna see if any of this stuff fits you, but we're gonna take everything and take it over here and give it away. And but it was activism from a place of not outside of needing to help. Just like, I know I need to help, so I'm gonna help people, because I know, it was the 80s, so she had kids that was out here in these streets messed up, and she couldn't always get to them, so she was doing her best to help other people's kids when she couldn't get to her own kids. And I mean, that was a major influence on me, my mother. And then just being a native of Detroit. I mean, even in what I would call the most conscious city I've ever been to, it's still the city. It's still I still go to Detroit public schools. I'm still growing up on the North End, moved to the East Side. I wasn't learning these things in a vacuum. So it's, you're learning these theories and these concepts of revolution and knowledge itself, and how can I change things for us as a Black people. But at the same time, we're going through it. So it's plenty of opportunity to practice and apply these things. And I'm trying to save this person over here from China, but I'm in the water myself too, and it's a unique challenge. I think that probably is a big part of my experience. I did have a real good relationship with my father, but he lived in Ohio. I would go see him pretty regularly. He gave me a lot. Because he was the same type of person. But I think more than anything, my experience in Detroit is what fed my values and fed my need for community, and fed my experience and knowing the power of community, and just what my community's done for me, and the opportunity that exists as long as we have each other. So,
right. I remember coming to They Say. Remember when They Say used to have their poetry nights?
Yeah,
I remember
definitely.
coming because I very rarely went. But this one
Yes,
particular
ma'am.
time I went, you were with your poetry collective, and your father, I think your father was there. It was like a lineage of men. It was you, and it was like your father and maybe two other men from your family. And y'all were up there talking about, the power of brotherhood or manhood and things like that. And that's what really stuck out to me. I'm like, this is one of the few men that I've seen, have the lineage to show for it. So beyond your father, what other male influences did you experience?
Oh my God, a lot. So I want to, even on that. So my name is Prostell Thomas III.
Right.
My father is Prostell Thomas Jr. Obviously, his father's Prostell Thomas Sr. He came up to Youngstown, Ohio from Georgia. When he was 20, with my grandmother who passed away. God bless them both. I say that to say, fatherhood is a huge part of my identity. It was a goal early on. I knew I wanted to name my son Prostell. In fact, when I as I was learning about slave names and things of that nature, and I knew I didn't want to pass. I didn't want to pass on the slave name to my children, but I did want to give them a family name. So most of my children's last name is Prostell. But that's not where that ends for me. There's a lot of men that just have sold into me either, intimately, whether it was the men in the church that I grew up in, whether it was the men when I left the church, I joined the United Nation of Islam. So, the brothers from the what we call the first resurrection of the nation that were with the messenger and talking about their journey, what they experienced building the nation in the 60s and 50s and 70s, and legendary things that I learned from them. And then coming back to my city, and a lot of the brothers I got a chance to know intimately, like Brother Paul Taylor over at the Inner City Sub Center, and Brother Elder Michael Balagoon, and the Million Man alumni, and from relatively from afar, brothers that I'm honored to know, like Baba Maliki Kini and Baba Kamari L. It's really too many to name. It's really too many names. I mean, it's so many. I tend to look at it, if I see something that I admire in another man, really almost regardless of age. He could be younger than me. If there's something that I admire in him, my brother Taji Ali, or RCI, like, it doesn't matter the age. If I see something in another man, another human that I like, I'm gonna start asking questions and try to gain that piece that resonates with me. So
that's what I wanted to. Excuse me for interrupting, Deidre. I see your hand. I'll get to you in 1 second. You led into my question. My question is, what is it? Tell us, what is it that you learned from each circle, from each experience? What is it that you valued about the characteristics that you learned? What characteristics did you pick up? And then Deidre will have your question.
Okay.
I learned to pay attention to how people treat people that they think they don't need. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those men that I mentioned, I came to in a position of, ignorance and not knowing. I remember being a young man. I knew, even when I was like 19, 20, I knew I was man aged, but I didn't feel as though I had the things that made me a man. So these men, they were always willing to pour into me. And I'm saying, like, not even, no, nothing really in it for them. Just like, here's the thing you need to know. Here's a little piece, maybe not a long interaction. Just here's this thing, when you go to the bank, do it this way. When you do an event, do it this way. Or when you, I remember one of my favorite brothers in the nation is brother Minister Gregory out of Kansas City, Kansas. He talked with the messenger, and he used to always tell us, you can't teach a person who doesn't, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So you can't teach somebody who's don't feel like they're your friend. So even before you start doing that, you have to do things to a person to have a relationship with them. Then if you have something that you think is a value to them, then you have the opportunity to give it to them. But I mean, it's so many. It's probably, if I think of every one of those brothers, I can think of something in particular that either they taught me specifically or I just watched them. I watched how they moved. I watched the things that they put their energy into. I watched, how when I asked them to do something, and even if they couldn't do it, they would give me something.
How they responded, yeah.
Yeah, they would give me something. Even if it was a no, it was like, well, brother, I can't do that. However, I'm gonna give you this.
Yeah.
And it all of it impacted me on my journey, and I'm incredibly grateful for all of it. So.
Awesome. Well, I have a ton of more questions. I'm sure some of the other ladies do too. I'm putting the quote you just said in the chat. People don't care what you're bringing until they know that you care.
You don't care what you know until they know that you care.
People don't know. People what?
People don't care what you know. They don't care what you know
until they
know that you care.
I love that.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just somebody talking.
Right. Exactly. I try to tell people that all the time. Awesome. Yeah. All right, Deidre, take it away.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say welcome and greetings to the brother Prostell. Thank you for sharing what you have. I mean, seriously, it's just so much value in what you're saying.
Thank you.
Presently, I am actually a part of the Metropolitan Detroit Diaper Bank, and I actually teach. I facilitate a course called a toilet training workshop. So I teach parents, how to train their children on toilet training, on using the toilet. The one question I ask my parents is, tell me something valuable about your child or children. And I heard your child in the background earlier. Children. So I want to know, how many children do you have? And can you tell me something valuable about each of them?
Each of them, oh my God, how much time do we have? So first of all, I have 11 biological children. However, if my children hear me say that, they will correct me and say, Dad, you have 11, you have 17 children.
Oh my
Because
goodness. Okay.
I also have, so I started out as a father when I was 8. Well, it started before that, but legally at 18, I went and got guardianship. I have 2 younger cousins who parents were they were victims of the crack epidemic in the 80s, and I knew early on that they were going to come with me as soon as I was able to get them to come with me.
Oh, that's
so those,
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was beautiful. I might give myself different advice. If I was 19, I was 20. It was to me, it was no question. However, it was worth the struggle and the sacrifice. And I mean, I think like a lot of parents, regardless of circumstances, we grew up together. I'm gonna do this really quick because, like I said, it's a lot of them.
Okay.
I'm going to rub my children the wrong way, and I'm just going to do the biological children.
Okay.
So my oldest son is Nasir. He's 22. He is in Boston.
Ooh.
He grew up with me. So all of these different phases I went through, he was there. And Nasir is amazing because Nasir, he moved to Boston. We don't know. We've lived all over this country. I don't know anybody in Boston. And he moved to Boston with $200 right before the pandemic hit.
Oh.
And he went out. It was a terrible plan when he told it to me, but I was like, I said, all right, son, well, either it's gonna work or it's not gonna work, and you're gonna go home, but you're gonna learn something. And he went out there, and he's struggled, and he's got on his feet, and he's moving forward, and he's living his life, and I'm incredibly proud of him. My second oldest son, Sayer, is 16. He's a student. Well, I should tell all this info, but he's a high school student. He's a leader. He's a leader in our family. He tries to be the very best person he can be every single day. He works hard. And I know great things in his future. Amir is 13. Amir is a leader also. Amir is a great big brother. He loves all of the older brothers do this, but he comes over my house and tells me my children are my children, they're his children, and he's gonna take them all from me. He's a great big brother. He's fearless. He protects and defends his family. Then there's Taylor. Taylor is 10. She's my first daughter. Taylor she's bright. She's talented. She's a star. My next daughter is Chloe. Chloe is 6. Chloe is sweet and she's sensitive. She's also extremely creative. She's got probably the best curl pattern of all my kids. Phoebe is 5. Phoebe plays the piano and is an amazing artist. And if you add me on Facebook, I have pictures of Phoebe's art on Facebook. Phoebe's a phenom and she's super smart. She's a Virgo, incredibly intelligent and analytic. Next is Penny. Penny has never met a stranger in her entire life.
Okay.
She is the nurturer. She is the mother of the children. She takes care of all of us, myself included. The voice you heard is Avery. Avery is crazy, but he is 100% fearless, and I really hope that this world gets it together before we release him unto the world, because he's not taking any prisoners. He's not even taking prisoners in the house, and I love him.
Time is now, Baba. Time is now to release him now. The time is now.
He's 4. Y'all not ready for him. I gotta calm him down because he's. Then I have triplets.
Oh my! I did not know you had triplets in there.
Yeah, the triplets are the triplets. That's what took me out of the game. I was like, we're not doing this no more. But my triplets, so we're gonna go in accordance to appearance. My triplet, my last son, my youngest son is Prostell Thomas IV. I had always wanted to name my child after my father and my grandfather, and he is the culmination of that. He is sweet, and he is I don't know. He pulls off being a mama's boy and a daddy's boy, but he will follow me around all day long and check on me, and I can't ask him to do anything. And he's got gray eyes. I know that's not a personality trait, but I like it. Then there's PJ. There's Paige Jr., who used to be the runt. She was the runt, and she figured out that if she didn't toughen up, she wasn't gonna get any food at the table. So now she's this sassy. She's the tallest of the triplets, and she's confident and she's beautiful. And then finally, there's Missy. Promise. She's like a little mouse. She's sweet, but she is everybody's favorite. She definitely, even out of the triplets, she walks to the beat of her own drum. Everybody will be in this room over here. Missy will be over here doing her own thing. And I love that independence of thought and her energy. And I love all my babies, all of them.
Man,
You know what? I want to thank you.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for sharing all of that. And I mean, I could just tell you are a wonderful father and that you should be truly blessed because you have bountiful blessings there.
They are. We can do the whole show about them. I love them. They're the best part of this world for me. You know what I mean? So I'm blessed to have them. Probably like everybody else, I'm as good a parent as I can be, and I try to constantly get better. And that's
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's where
Sharing that.
I think that's probably where you and I connect, Prostell, in spirit, because I'm the same way. It's like my children are my everything, you know. So
Yeah.
you know, they give me the peace and the happiness that I always wanted. So thank you for that. And I love how excited you were to talk about your children. You don't just love them, you're in love with them.
They're amazing.
And awesome. There's a difference.
When I was a younger man, and it's funny, my homeboy, he had to remind me because around when the triplets came, I was kind of like, well, hold up, man, what the hell's going on? And he reminded me. He said, bro, you remember when we were teenagers, you said you wanted 10.
Ooh.
You said it, and I was like, damn, I did say that, but I got 11. But also, like, you know, it's been my dream. So there's a vision. I strongly believe in visualization and its ability to create our reality. Since I was young, I've had a vision of sitting in my house. In fact, I saw Prostell Sr. do this, and sitting in my house with my children and all of my grandchildren in this house and looking and being able to see what came from me. And there are no better moments than when, you know, all of my children, you know, 6 of them live with me, you know, most of the time. So the older ones, you know, stay with their mom. 2 of them live out of state. But at times, at least a few times a year, everybody's here. And the moments when it's all of us, you know, and also the interconnectedness, because they talk, you know what I'm saying? When they're not with me, they talk to each other. And that's, if there's anything that I can give them, is that you're not going into this world alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's 10 or however you count it, 16 other people that you can call when you're going through something. So even if all of them is not your best friend, you better pick one person out of that group that your buds stay in touch with and connect with. And so far, that's how I was working, and I'm grateful for it. You know, I intend on being a rich man, but if I don't make another dollar, you know, I'm already incredibly wealthy. So,
man, yeah. I love it. That is such an awesome feeling. Like, and the same thing kind of happened to me too, Prize. When I was younger, I was raised an only child, even though I had siblings. And I remember saying I was about 5 or 6, I was like, my children aren't gonna feel this way. They're gonna have each other. I'm gonna have me a lot of kids. And I remember at like 6 or 7, I started saying, I want 4 girls. I want 4 daughters. I could just saw the vision. That Spirit gave me the vision. I'm like, I want 4 daughters. And next thing you know, I had 5. So the visions are real. God is good. And a son to boot. So God is good. So before I take on the next question, does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask?
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Prostell. Thank you for blessing us with your presence and speaking to us.
Gratitude.
My question is, do you have daughters?
You said, do I have daughters?
Yes, you have. I heard you say you have daughters.
I have 6 daughters, yeah.
Okay, what would you, as a father and a man, tell them to prepare them for a mate and help them to understand them?
To help you, I want to make sure I understand the question. To help them to understand their mate?
To help them to understand a man and prepare them for a mate.
What I would probably tell my daughters, I mean, what I probably try to instill in all of them is that, coming out into this world or even inside the house, everybody's not the same. Even within those 11 kids, there's different temperaments in there. Their challenge is to come into the situation understanding themselves. Like their challenge to come into the situation whole, so that and I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it's kind of a standard thing. Like, I don't ever want them to dim their light or not tell the truth. Be empathetic towards people. Don't be cruel towards people. Understand people. But I think I strongly believe in personal responsibility. In our family, that's something I try to give everybody. Like, no matter what, if there's always conflict. So when there is conflict, what you got to get what you need to learn from this conflict and what you need to learn from the conflict are two different things. Because the things you can control are your behavior, and you can control your behavior, and then we can come back together, hopefully better as a collective. So honestly, the biggest thing I try to instill in my daughters is not dimming their lights. I try to spend a lot of time and a lot of be very affectionate, as much as a father should be towards their daughters, so that's never any type of deficiency for them, or there's never any deficiency where they feel like they need attention from somebody outside of themselves or their family. But I mean, I think we're all in a better position to understand other people, when we understand how we're coming to it, because you might understand somebody's situation, but it might not be the type of thing that you can help somebody with. So like knowing yourself puts you in a position to know what's a good situation for you and what's not a good situation for you. Penny is very nurturing, and she probably can deal with somebody who needs that type of attention. Phoebe is she's more independent. She's more, and I don't mean this in a negative way, she's more self-centered. Phoebe wants what Phoebe wants. So she's going to need to find somebody who can accept that and live with that, and, be happy with that. And I think that's the bigger piece, is understanding yourself, so that you can know, what type of situation is a good situation for you, what type of situation is an unhealthy situation for you.
Now that's something that you don't really hear men say. Usually our society is patriarchal, we all know that, and so it's built on this idea that women have to conform in order to get a man. This is like one of the rarest times ever I hear a man say, no, stand in your truth. I mean, I know it, I had to grow into it, but to hear a man say stand in your truth and find a man who can complement your truth is not a message that most women, especially Black women, are taught. So that's very powerful.
So my first, these children weren't created in a vacuum. So I've been married a few times.
Let's talk about that.
I remember my first marriage. I came into it. I was 21. I was 21. She was 27. And great. Let me say this: great mother, incredible co-parent. And the beautiful thing about our family is, it don't matter whose kid came out of your body. If one of them kids show up, you take care of them. And I'm not saying I didn't dictate that. That's something that, just how we've been moving. So I'm really grateful for the woman that my co-parent is, but I do recognize that when I came into that relationship, I was young and I didn't have a lot of knowledge of myself. I knew what kind of man I wanted to be. Like, I knew I wanted to be a good man. I knew I wanted to be a father, but I was searching for those things externally. I was searching for somebody else's measurement of this is what a good man does. This is what a good man is, without any like context of, well, how are you cut? How are you shaped? And what I learned in that is, I was able to conform and do a lot of things that, I was following that checklist, but because it didn't resonate with me internally, I was only able to do it so long. and then had to go through the process of feeling like a failure, like, oh, I failed the checklist of what a man is, and then had to go through the process of self-discovery and learning myself. And then once I learned myself, then I saw like, oh, there are men who are like me, and I can be, oh, this is an option. And I think once I started doing that internal kind of diagnosis, was the pathway of me understanding what type of relationship I needed to be in, what type of person I needed to be with. And you know, I just think for anybody, man, woman, a boy, girl, I think that knowledge of that understanding of self allows you to understand how you need to relate to other people. You know, in an ideal world, we can deal with everybody, but you have to understand, you know, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what boundaries you need to have, you know, what kind of things rub you the wrong way. And then, you know, build your world around yourself, around who you are. So that's what, if I could give anything to my daughters, I really want them to be free and expressing themselves and understand, you know, all my kids to be humble, all my kids understand the need to serve their community and serve other people. But you know, start that from the standpoint of who are you in this big picture.
That's a good talk. Thank you. Thank you.
That's juicy.
Yes.
That's juicy and delicious. And I think that's the advantage that the millennials have in this generation, is that they have so much more freedom to be themselves, much more freedom to create their reality. Whereas the generations you and I grew up in, it wasn't so much like that. It was like, nope, if you can walk this line, you are worth it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. Yeah. So
without any regard to like who you are, like, I mean,
just walk the line.
Yes, ma'am.
So let me ask you, tell us a little bit about your experience as a man when it came to relationships, because, you know, myself as well as others are familiar with your alternative choice, and it is a choice. So, you know, so I totally honor, I have no issue with it. It's just, you know, it is alternative. Like, it's not a popular thing. It's gaining more popularity, but it's not as popular. Now, I must say, you were the first person to ever introduce me to the concept in real life.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I've watched you over the years, and how it has unfolded. So talk to us about your life, about your alternative choice, and how you show up as a man, or what made you come to that decision, and what has that experience been like for you?
So I believe you're referring to me being, so I'm polyamorous. Polyamory is a word that means many loves. Sorry, the truck driving down Van Dyke. What that ultimately means in layman's terms is I do not practice monogamy. I do not practice monogamy. That journey for me, and I'm gonna be super real. So I came up on both sides of my family. And I'll just say, although I had many great male examples of manhood, male examples, I had many good examples of malehood. There was a history of infidelity, and almost like an accepted. It was accepted. You know, maybe not by the person that the person being, you know, cheating was in a relationship with, but like maybe if it was my uncle, all the aunties knew, and you know, didn't make a big deal about it. And you know, if it was a cousin, all the girl cousins knew and would cover for him. But I grew up as somebody who I never wanted to get a divorce. I never wanted to, like, because that was the thing that was happening in my family. And I ended up joining the Nation. And I think that was the first place I got introduced to the concept of a man having more than one wife. And so the logistic part of it, the way we understood it in that organization, was just, you know, if you have a certain level of responsibility, then you need more help than somebody who might have, you know, just one wife. And in the Nation, and I mean, depending on what culture you come from, it's still true. Like, the closest a person can be to you is your wife. You know, eventually your children are going to leave. An employee is there for the money. Somebody else, another brother, he's going to have his own world and thing that he's operating in. But your wife, she's your helpmate. She's there with you, you know, for good or bad, or for better or for worse. So that's why I first got introduced to the concept. I did not have more than one wife when I was in the Nation, but I was a minister. So, you know, we would counsel couples. We would have, you know, we understood the concept. when I got out of the nation, I I kind of let go of that. I kind of said, it's Detroit. I'm not really trying to sell, the late sister on the concept of another sister being here in this relationship with us. But then I got into a relationship with my second wife, she like me, we were coming out of relationships that we were deeply connected to. And we still had very strong feelings for the person that we were in the previous relationship with. So she had just broken up with a guy and she still had feelings for him. And I had just broken up with a girl and I still have feelings for her, but we couldn't deny this thing that was happening between us. So we kind of started having conversations like, well, how do we honor this thing that we have, but not pretend that these other feelings, these other very valid feelings still exist. So that's when, she actually introduced me to the concept of polyamory. And of course, like most men, I was like, oh, well, cool. I can have more than one woman. And she was like, well, I can date more than one person too, which, I was like, hold on, let's talk about this.
That part be the part.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge in that sense. But I'll be honest, I think probably by my nature, somebody who, when I see uncomfortability, I have the tendency to push towards it. Like, ooh, this makes me uncomfortable. Let me, unless it's something like fundamental, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't,
you lean into the challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, let me figure out why this is uncomfortable. If I don't understand why this is uncomfortable, let me figure this out. So we, to be honest, so we were polyamorous, but almost in name only. There were a few people that we talked to. And she had a couple exes where she would communicate with them, and there was one she wanted to go in. We were living in Florida at the time. She wanted to go visit them, and I was like, again, that flash came on uncomfortable, but I was like, well, I think the point that I arrived at is the only reason that she stays is because I won't let her leave, then maybe, do I even really want her here?
Damn.
You know what I mean? If the only reason that you're here is because you're not allowed to go anywhere, then, and if the time has come, and ultimately if the time has come for you to go somewhere else, then, maybe it's best that you go. But what I've experienced more than anything else, so I mean, that was my first experience in polyamory. The next relationship I got in after that, it was way more. I have a poem called 3 a.m. And because my next relationship, so with that one where we got introduced to polyamory, we were really polyamorous only in name. We really never went on dates with other people. We just knew it was okay to come home and be like, oh, I think I like this sister at work. And it never really went anywhere. But this next relationship,
Pat about to bust. Hold
Okay,
on.
okay.
Put a pause there.
First of all, I didn't want to interrupt, but I need to, because I just want to say that I like to see how you were processing that you're still processing
Yes.
that. Your eyebrow went up. You put your head down. You're like, let me think this through. How I'm thinking about this. Let me think this through. I just like
it's a process, I'm sure.
I mean, you're still processing. You're still processing.
The thing about it is, it's really this is the incredible part about it, right? Because when you hear non-monogamy, polyamory, you in your mind it becomes like, oh, it's this person and all these other people. Because now you can date, if you just got a physical relationship, you can explore that. And so in your mind you think it's that, but in reality, what it becomes is it becomes about you. It becomes only about you, because now that sense of obligation, that now if you're doing something that makes me uncomfortable, it makes me uncomfortable. That's my work. So
Right.
because you love me and you care about me, you'll support me in my work. You'll say, well, what happened? What upset you? Matter of fact, so to go back to that story, right? So I got into a relationship with another sister who she was being introduced to polyamory, but let's just say she was, pardon my language, she was with the shits. So she was like, she had a relationship with a brother who had just got back from Afghanistan, and he was in the army. He was a higher up. You know what I'm saying? He was he he got to LA and he was like, I want to fly you out. And she's in a relationship with me and she's in love with me, like 100%. She's in love with me. And she's like, but there's this man that I still have feelings for. We used to talk a few years back and he wants to fly me out. And I'm like, okay. And we lay these agreements down. So, you're gonna call me before y'all go out. You're gonna call me, you know what I'm saying? If anything happens, you're gonna call me, and I'm gonna be. Is this an adult theme show?
Yes,
It is.
I'm not
It
gonna be
is.
graphic.
it is
I'm
an
not gonna be
adult theme
graphic.
show.
I was clearing my forehead. I said, fix your. We talked about keeping our
Right.
forehead clear. I just.
Listen. So we talked the whole time she was there, and every single agreement she followed to a T. And I'm getting these text messages, and I'm at home. I'm at our house back in Detroit, and I'm laying there, and it's early in the night, so I'm like, instinct, like I'm gonna text and see who I can go out with. I'm gonna see if somebody gonna come be company me then. And I'm laying there, and I'm like, really just focus on what she's doing. And she messaged me. She texted me.
Okay, Baba, let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this. I gotta get in there. Oh no, I gotta get in there.
Please, come on.
Them, if their thing made you uncomfortable, did you ever think about?
I can't hear you.
Looking up, head, you stuck. Oh Lord. Okay, try
That's
it again. Nope.
Energy.
Okay, there you go.
Turn my mic back up. Okay.
You said.
Here we go. I was just saying.
Damn it, head. Type it in
She
the
built
chat.
anticipation. She just built anticipation.
Excited. I know it's my energy. Can you all hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Calm it down so you can come
Yeah,
stay on tape.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm not gonna
Okay,
run.
let me breathe.
He says.
So what I was saying is that what you were thinking about the other party. Did you ever think about the other party thinking about the same thing for you? Like you out with other people. Did you think about them thinking about that and how they handle that?
Oh, that's different. No, I'm playing.
See?
No,
Go on and tell the truth. Tell the truth, sir.
100%. No, it's 100%. Yes, it's uncomfortable both ways. But what happens is, and again, I want to be super clear. I'm not selling this relationship to other people. I'm not suggesting, because it's not easy work.
Right.
So as you know, as I'm laying there in the bed, and I know, I also know my lady, because I know myself, and I'm like, okay, I know what she's doing, and I'm getting pissed. I'm making up. I'm like, I can't believe she texted. She said she was gonna call me. She texted me. She said she was going to be back in the room at 11. It's 11:10. Like, I'm everything that she could possibly. Why she take that dress? That's my favorite dress. She gonna wear my favorite dress for this month. I'm everything I could think of. Everything I can think of, I'm pissed about. Let me tell you, this was hard, and I like sharing this because it was hard. She gets back to the room and she says, "Hey, I'm about to go to his room," because they had separate rooms. She said, "I'm about to go to his room. I'll call you when I get back." And
she don't call back to the next morning.
Listen, an hour passed. I'm like, this mother. I'm pissed. I'm so mad, and I'm like. Listen, I'm getting all the cuss words together that I'm gonna give her when we talk again. And then she calls me about 4. And she says, I'm back in my room. And when she calls me, it's like I release all of that energy, because I realize she has still not done anything wrong. She hasn't broken any of our agreements. The only thing that's happening is I am uncomfortable. And the beautiful part of it is we still get to govern our relationship the way we want to. So polyamory can look many different ways. There are couples who say, you know what I'm saying, like there's whatever's comfortable for you, you can do. So those interactions can look any number of ways. But the reason why I gravitated to it now, and now more than ever, I know I'll probably never be in another monogamous relationship. Not because I'm really only in one relationship. But for me, the bigger part of it is I don't ever want to, if we decide to draw boundaries because it makes sense for our life, that's fine. But I don't ever want to draw boundaries out of fear. I don't ever want to limit myself or my ability to connect with another person. You know what I mean? Out of fear that I might lose something, or you know what I'm saying? So I mean, again, it's definitely not for everybody. And I love and respect monogamous relationships. My grandparents were married for 70 years. I think that's beautiful. You know, and the woman I'm with, we're about to get married, and I want to grow old with her, very, very old.
Right.
But the concept of non-monogamy, it just isn't for me. And you know, and also I think that it requires you to move in an ethical way, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people who are non-monogamous, they just don't know it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who, you know, my family has always been, I'm talking about the people older than me, have been non-monogamous the whole time. We just, you know, it was a secret. This was, you know, our auntie would pop up, you know, 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like now, you know, and it also just helps, you know, there's no barriers for my children that might maybe exist in another. Not that that's mandatory for that, but it definitely helps it. So, you know, I'm extremely family first. And that's one of the barriers to me being in relationships with people is I could lead with I got 11 kids. That's going to filter things out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. A whole lot.
You know what I'm saying? And also I got a relationship. So it's, you know, people's image of it on TV, they'll put the dramatic stuff out there. You know, they'll show you the dramatic, but when I say I know thousands of Black, beautiful, upstanding lawyers, doctors, teachers, business people that are polyamorous and move with dignity and move with ethics. And you know, if somebody comes in our circles and they're not moving ethically, because you will have people who come into these communities and they're just trying to have a little fun, you know, and I'm not knocking, you know, anybody who swings does other things, but this ain't that. This is about relationships. There are plenty of people who are in relationships who don't have sex at all, you know. But then, and it causes you to expand how you look at what a relationship is. Because when we think relationship, we think sex, we think possession. But again, what about the relationship that somebody can add to your life where it's never sexual?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe they just so into you every morning when you call them, or maybe you've been on some type of journey with them, and it just expands for me the concepts of love, concepts of family. You know, so it's definitely not what you see on TV. And for me, it definitely aligns with, you know, my values as far as family and community and all those things. So
I appreciate it.
Mama Evelyn, I see your hand. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm gonna let everybody know that we are turning from live on YouTube and Facebook. And we are going to now go into the Zoom room. So if you have your ticket, go ahead and join us in the Zoom room while we log off of live. And if you don't have your ticket, go to elizabethvisionaryconference.org, get your free ticket, and continue the conversation with us in the Zoom room. All right, ladies, say so long. Farewell. Bye, YouTube. All right, Evelyn.
Okay.
Take it away, Mama Evelyn. What's your question?
I like what you said. I like what you said about if the only reason you stay is that you won't let her leave. So I wrote down, if the only reason you stay is I won't let you leave, how would you finish that? Because I am a collector of sayings, and I'm sitting here carrying sayings for upcoming art projects, and I'm like, yes, I like that one. So how would you finish that? If the only reason you stay is I won't let you leave, then how would you finish that?
I would say that you should go, or you know, if the only reason you want to stay is because I won't let you leave, then I think you should go. I think it's best for us both that you go, because that's attachment on my part. You know what I mean? Because no, you know what's interesting is every relationship I've ever been in, when it ended, it felt like the end of the world. Every single time, it felt like, how in the hell can life go on after this? And every single time the next relationship was better.
Yep.
And it's that fear of letting go. It's that fear that if I let go of this, well, this is, you know, and this is the best thing in my life. How can, man? And it's that's not what life is. That's not what this world is. You know, the bad and challenging things happen all the time, but I would be more than willing to suggest that those bad and challenging things are how we grow, how we become better. Every relationship ended, I had a little bit clearer picture of what I needed. And let's be honest, I'm 45. I'm definitely not the same man I was when I was 19. So my requirements to be in a relationship now are way different. 19, you just had to be willing to, you know, put up with it. You could act annoyed and have an attitude and talk crazy to me. I would be like, okay, baby, you want anything from Boston Market? Like now, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like, I don't have. Now it's more, you know, we can grow together, and I'm going to allow you to grow without trying to shape you into what I want you to be. And I'm going to grow, and I'm going to grow where I should be, and I'm going to find somebody who aligns with my growth. And you know, I mean, so yeah, again, I guess I would say I should let you go. If the only reason that you won't leave is because I won't let you go, then I should let you go. I should let you go. Because there's probably something better happening after this.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that that last phrase would be, say the first part.
Okay. The only reason you stay is I won't let you leave.
You are free to go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Queen.
There we go.
Especially that word free. Free.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all about that freedom. I love
now
it.
who's talking though? Who's making the statement? If the only reason you say it again.
If the only reason why you stay is because I won't let you go, then
you are free to go.
I like the then and dot. Then dot.
Yeah, the dot will work, Emily. Yeah, that dot will work.
But you know what bothers me about the humanness of us is that we get all tripped out about, we keep saying that we got to let something go. When we've had to let a parent go that has passed away, that's a lie. When we said we're letting a person go that we've been in a relationship, that's a lie. Because some people still stay in contact with their people. Like Hetheru, I have met not all, but just about all of Baba's friends, female friends, and I wanted to, because I wanted to know when they get together, is it like rah, or is it like peace and harmony? Because then that would let me know what kind of person he is. Now he's different people with other people, but when we see our exes, ain't nobody coming at each other's throats. We're all peaceful. Like, hey, you know, give me a call. You know, we still talk. You know, so we came together. That's one thing that I love about Hetheru and I. We were friends before we were anything else. We hung out for 3 years. I mean, we hung tough for 3 years, and we met each other's friends. You know, and we've met each other's exes. You know what I'm saying? And we met people along the way that we've come to like and love, and you know, whatever, you know. But you have to define your own relationship. We need to stop looking. Okay, monogamy is. First of all, ain't nobody monogamy. I'm gonna say ain't nobody monogamous. Because if you got kids with somebody, if you got children with somebody else, okay, that's over, because you still, to keep the peace, you need to keep communicating with folks. Excuse me, I was almost gonna say something. And then you have your school husbands and wives, you have your work husbands and wives, you have your neighbor husbands and wives, because there's a lot of people we continuously work with. I almost got into it with a lady at work because I need to calm down. This is one of my subjects.
Breathe, baby.
I like this subject. This is my subject right here. Love it.
I'm with you.
So I kept telling her, I said, I know that you have a couple people that you could call, blah, 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 blah. I know you got some friends that's always trying to holler at you. She was like, nah. I said, yes, you do. I had to keep wording it different, and she finally admitted it. I said, come on now. Everybody got somebody they could call. You still got something. It might be 2, 3 people, but everybody got somebody that either still call, how you doing? You want, nah, you know, that kind of thing. Everybody knows. Most people, I'll say 99.8%. When people tell the truth.
And can I answer that?
Please do.
It'll be a non-sexual relationship that's more intimate than a physical one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
It'll
especially
be-
for a woman. Especially for a woman. Yeah, because men, they like, you know, to me, monogamy is, you know, some people, they have to deny the self in order to strengthen their spirit. So some people need monogamy because
Yeah.
it really does strengthen them as a person. You know,
Yeah.
to deny the self is to feel the spirit, or however that goes. So for some people, monogamy works, you
Absolutely.
know, but I think for generations moving forward and just how we're evolving as humankind, I mean, it just makes sense to open that heart chakra up and to move differently, you know, because we live in a different world. We live in a different society. We get to create our own rules and put our own boundaries up and do what fills our soul. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want you, Prostell, before we move on to the next segment, I want you to just share really quickly the difference between, there's polyamory and then there's, what's the other one?
Polygamy.
Polygamy. Yes. So can you just briefly explain the two?
So polyamory, and I'm gonna be real, I guess, relatively casual with the language. Polyamory just simply means, well, let me back up. I'll do it this way. Polygamy is typically where a man can have more than one wife. That those women only date that man. In most cases, they don't date each other. They just, and I say they're not in they're in relationship with each other in terms of domestically, but it's centered around the man. Then you have polyandry. There are women and men in this relationship who the woman has more than one man, and that's it. The men don't have more than one person. Then you have polyamory. Polyamory is where that. So here's the thing.
Polyamory is where what? No,
polyamory is about self. So the way TV will give it to you is polyamory is when 3 people are in a relationship or 4 people in a relationship. No, polyamory is an individual person saying, "This is my style of love." That's why I try to avoid, even the labels get a little bit messy. That's why I say ethical non-monogamy, because if I'm in a relationship or not, my value system still is, I am not a monogamous. I am not going to deny my connection with one person for the sake of another person. I'm not, if a relationship's unhealthy, or if I prioritize this relationship over another one, that's one thing, but it's not going to be because she's not going to like I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's so polyamory is many loves. Polygamy is a man with multiple wives. Polyandry is a woman with multiple husbands. And ethical non-monogamy is kind of the umbrella term for all of it. Mm-hmm. And even within the non-monogamous community, there's a lot of conversations about the ethics of it. And, you know, there's a thing called a unicorn hunter where you have, again, a lot of couples come in, and some people do this in a predatory way. You know, you have couples come in looking for that woman who's in dire straits, and they want to try to take advantage of the fact that she's in a tough situation and bring her in. Like, that's, you know, that's terrible and toxic. But I mean, like any community, there's, you know, it's people who go and call themselves this, and they, you know, they operate in an unethical way. So the way that I usually try to describe it is ethical non-monogamy. We'll have some ethics.
Some people get labeled on their styles, and that's another thing I don't like, because people have said things about me and my husband, but ain't nobody came and asked us a damn thing.
Listen, don't
they
even give me
come and ask us nothing. And that part is what bothers me. Come and talk to us, because you listening to people running their mouths and they don't know what they're talking about. Because a lot of people like to create their own dreams and create their own realities. But all you got to do is come over here. I'm always open to ask some questions.
Well,
I may have some
comes
too.
to what you do behind closed doors, I mean, you don't really owe anyone an explanation.
I don't.
And no one has the right to step to you and say anything. Like, you live, y'all grown. Y'all grown. You
I know, but I'm still saying, I like to tell people when I'm able, come and ask me, because why you asking? It's just like when you learning about your body when you're a teenager. You asking your cousin and go to the book. Get some books.
I mean,
because I did a paper. Hold on a second. I did a paper some years ago when I was in school, and I did a paper on multiple wives. I can't think of the name right now. I don't feel like it. So what an elder came to the community because there were a lot of women and children out on the streets alone. The elder woman went to the council and said, "Look, we got to get these women and these children off the streets. It wasn't even about no sex. It was about taking care of these families. And that's where it belonged for what I was studying. And nobody knows. Everybody always talking about the sex. Y'all need to stop tripping on that.
Because when Muslims, I mean, that's, you know, my ex-husband, the children's father, he's Muslim, Sunni Muslim. Yeah. And so he taught me, you know, long time ago of the whole poly, I get all the words mixed up, but poly lifestyle, right? Yeah. And he explained to me that it actually came from historically back in the day when there would be a war and all the men wouldn't come home, and you would have all of these children and women who were husbandless and fatherless. So they would take on another wife and her children. So to keep that from happening, you know, to keep it from being out of order. So, you know, and even in African society, we have, you know, it's an ethic to it, like what Prostell was saying. There's a divine reason for it, you know. Mama, Yaba, I'ma need you to get off the screen, girl.
It's funny because I remember I had just asked her to speak on that, do a teaching.
I don't think she's ready.
Okay, Mama Queen Aduni, can you close Mama Abba's video? Can you close her video, please?
Close her video?
Can you turn off her video? Do you have that power?
Can you call
Mama Yaba, you need to turn off your camera, Mama Yaba.
Mama Yaba, turn off your camera. Thank you.
Thank you, baby.
Nope, turn it off again. There you go. All right now. Happy summer solstice.
She's looking good though. She looking
good. Okay. All right, we gonna move on.
Shut up. This ain't no comedy.
Girl, you look gorgeous. Stop. Okay, so you know, so that is the main reason for it. And in African tradition, same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's about preserving family. It's not about what the westernized society would have it be. Now, westernized society is very over-sexualized, very much so. We all know that. So, you know, so I love the fact that you made that distinction. Thank you, Het. You made the distinction as well. I wanted Mama Yaba to talk about it if she's ready. Are you ready, Mama? I don't think so. Oh, there she go. Hey, Mama. All right, there she go.
What you want me to do? Say what?
Whatever. Put in your perspective because you're in a poly marriage, right?
Not now. But
not now, but you have experience of it, right?
Yeah.
So we just wanted you to chime in.
Well, I don't chime in too much because she asked me to do a little program on it, but okay, Lord, how can I tell y'all this? First of all, this was in the late 60s, early 70s. And I came into a cultural community. I came up to New York from down south, so my mind was totally and completely blown. I did not blown like crazy, but there were Black people dressed in these beautiful clothes. I've never seen Black people look like that. And there was the discipline of the Nation of Islam. I never seen Black men like that.
Let's talk about it.
And then there were Black people on the streets selling all these books and artifacts from Africa and India and all over the world. I knew nothing about that. I came from Richmond, Virginia, the hardcore training of ancestors into becoming the kind of meek people they wanted them to be. So once I saw that I could be free like that, it was over. That slavery mentality was out the freaking window.
Yes.
I realized that there were different ways people expressed themselves. And fast forward, I started taking African culture class from a brother named Baba Ishangi Razak. He had 4 wives and a bunch of children. I didn't know about all of that. I said, wow, you can do this? See, for me, it was, we can do things. We don't have to follow the white man's way of living or doing or acting or treating people. It was a mind blower. I mean, you'd had to been there. So I sang and my band went to Guyana. And while in Guyana, I was visiting, we were visiting his sister, and she was sitting on the floor in the shower washing her clothes. And of course, I'm like a reporter. You well, where's your husband? And she said, well, he's in Africa. I said, why is he in Africa? She said, he's visiting his other wives. I said, his other what? She said, his other wives. And I said, you're not jealous? And she said, jealous? What is this jealous?
Ooh.
And I explained to her what jealousy was. She said, oh no, that is crazy.
Yes.
From that day, I worked toward not being jealous.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on.
Yes. Let's sit right there.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
And
coming
somebody
right
put
there.
in the chat, white man doesn't follow his own rules.
I'm not concerned about him. We spend too much time being concerned about them. But my concern is what we do. And I come from a gigantic, big family. So we're traditionalists anyway. What Big Mama did, her daughter did, we did, until integration came. Then came the point of intersection where we, you know what I'm talking about, brother, where we lost our minds and began to follow somebody else's way. Grandma's way didn't count no more. You didn't walk out of my Big Mama house with your dress above your knees, let alone above your thighs. And so when I got back to the United States, I asked Baba Shangi, what is jealousy? He said, jealousy is fear.
Yep.
Fear that you're going to lose your mate or your man, or if you're a man, your woman or whatever. Jealousy is fear. And I said, well, how in the world can you overcome fear? He said, first, you're going to have to recognize what it is, and then you're going to have to want to overcome it. So I thought polygamy was a perfect way to overcome it, because the jealousy came from not wanting your man to be, well, it ain't your man, but not wanting the man you with to be with another woman. And then I asked my mother, would she want my father to be with another woman? She said, girl, are you crazy? I said, well, why not, Ma? And she said, I don't know why not, but no, I don't want that. I said, well, I'm going to tell you why not. Because you don't want his penis to go in another woman's vagina. That's all it basically amounts.
That's the only main reason. Yeah.
So then I began to question, why that? See, it's the ability to understand. Bible says, yeah, wisdom, knowledge, and understand. It's the ability to understand what a process is about that makes it worth doing. So the man I had married from youth, I was the one pushing him to deal with polygamy. And that was my first experience. I had to go, when he was in the bed with her, in the room with her, I went in my room and I was just saying, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this?
Yes.
This is too much. This is too much. And so I began to focus, I began to focus on God as opposed to what was going on with him and her in the room. I had to find something positive to focus on in order not to be crazy. So for me, it was like a mental exercise and an emotional release. So eventually, he was not good at it. He was not good at it because he didn't know nothing about it either. And in his mind, he never had brothers or sisters. So he didn't understand the camaraderie between me and the sister that eventually became my real first co-wife. And he would say women he would try to do things to make us compete against one another. He just didn't know what he was doing. So our advisor told him that you can't turn blue red and you can't turn red blue. and that was his way of advising him. She's what she is, and this one is what they deal with them like they are, who they are, not who you think they ought to be. So, and he wasn't good. But my daughter's father, we had been friends for over 10, 11, 12 years. And his wives, which he had 3 at the time, one of them I introduced him to, we were all friends. So when my husband and I relationship turned left, they told me to come up there with them. They invited me to be a member of their household. Now my baby's father, he was excellent at it, excellent, because he's a Rastafarian, number one. He had creed, he had culture, he had an understanding of principle. And Rastafari, I don't know if you know it, but the whole concept of Rastafari is love and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You don't own nobody.
Mm-mm.
So he was like a father to us, and he was a teacher and a philosopher, and he taught us principles. But he also was a man that his marriage idea was a business.
Yes, marriage is a business.
Listen.
Right. That was his idea. And so we were at a baseball game one time, and he went somewhere, but he had his eyes on us. We didn't know that. And this brother came over there, and he was talking about, y'all show how pretty, where y'all girls from? Blah, 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 blah. And he walked up on the guy and he said, this is my family, man. And you know, I want you to just move on. How about that? And so the brother said, well, man, I ain't mean no harm. He said, come on, man, let's walk, let's talk. So I'm sure that knowing him, he was sharing with the guy what the family relationship was and what it was all about, because it was two brothers, you know. So I never felt jealousy or insecurity with them, because we were all friends for 10, 11 years already. I knew them and they knew me. And even though I was the oldest one in the group, older than him too, I just fit right in with wherever they were going with the thing. I wasn't trying to run it, rule it, or take, you know, advantage of the fact that I was the oldest. I just did what I was supposed to do and fall in line. Now, about the other side of it, we didn't have no desire to be with no other man. We followed the African rule, the African concept, the cultural concept, the initiation, the understanding of what the female role is and what the male role is. Now, that's totally foreign to African Americans, because we're like, in a certain sense, we're kind of like wild dogs, and we've been thrown to the woods, thrown out in the world, and we catch as catch can. But one time when I was performing, this African sister came up to me after the show, and she said, oh, you are so beautiful. I love your voice. I want you to marry my husband. I said, what? She said, come, I want you to meet my sisters. So I went over to the table. There were 3 of them, 4 altogether with her. And they said, oh, come marry our husband. We want you to be our sister. Yeah. And I said, I'm already married. They said, it's okay, you can leave him. Anyway, long story short, I like rules. I like to know where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't like the idea of I could just float around like a balloon here, there, and everywhere. That's not me. That might be for someone else, but that's not for Ayama. So when Bobby Shania taught us that the woman's role is this, I'll talk about that later. This, that, and the third, and the man's role is responsibility. And when he taught me that, I realized on my own, the sun rises in the sky on this side, and the moon rises in the sky on that side, and they never rise in the same place at the same time. And I said, I can live with that. I just want to know what's right so that I won't do what's wrong. And that's basically, you know, he had children. I was a mama to all the kids. Yes. I was probably the best mama.
You're supposed to think that.
And anyway, they were all good sisters. But a lot of times when you're young, you'll do things that's a little too much emotional in it. And a couple of the sisters was kind of like caught up in that part of it. Me, I'm an older person, so I've practiced wisdom. I talk to them and ask them questions, the children, to let them come to their own conclusion about what's right and wrong. And of course, they know they better come to the right conclusion, or they're gonna be sitting there with me talking to them for another hour, and who wants to sit and hear some talking. So
that's what I do. I talk my children's ears off. They can't stand it. It's worse than a beating. I don't beat my kids. I don't hit them, I don't whoop them, but that talking.
But I'm not. One of the reasons a Muslim brother taught me this. One of the reasons I'm not into women having more than one man is because a woman has. Anyway, the Muslim brother said women women have 9 holes, and Shaitan can enter into the woman through those 9 holes, as opposed to what a male has, because we got that extra hole with the vagina for the kid to come out. The other side of it is the sperm. Sperm is part of your brain tissue. And when you got more than one man, you got more than one mind circulating throughout your energy faculty. And so that's one of the main reasons I ain't down with the program of a woman having more than one man. Of course, we live in America, and you're supposed to be like the white folks say, whatever you want to do, you do it. That's freedom. No, I live with science, and y'all know that by now because I'm always talking about it. Science. It's got to be scientifical. That's what the Rasta man said. It's not no scientifical, no do. Yeah. So that's basically where my head is at on that. But brother, I really have a large respect for you, and I'm so happy to hear the things you're saying. And although I got to run, I'm gonna have to catch it on the archive. But I'm loving this, and I hope that we'll do this again. And maybe get some brothers to show up.
Yeah,
Mama. I'm sure everything. Man, I wish it would be just been you talking. That there's so much. A lot of times I think about
come tomorrow.
Like,
it will
nothing
be.
is new under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. And even like my love style is based on like my desire to take my family to a different space than the one we were born into.
Yes.
So, but I know even here in Detroit, there are families. I know families. I have friends that grew up in non-monogamous families, and these are some of the most beautiful families I've ever seen. All of the children grown now and gorgeous and working for themselves and you know, self-determination minded.
Yeah.
And that, that's what I want for my children. And so to hear your story and to know, the timeline is like more, please, more, because I know I'm not, what I'm doing might be new to me, but it ain't new.
That's right. It's a real
I appreciate it. I hope we get to talk about this again. So
I hope so too. You're giving me chills. I love to get chills. That means that my spirit is receiving it. And there was a man in Africa, he had 100 wives. Because see, over here, first thing, what's the first question they always ask you?
Are you married?
They have more than one wife.
Sex. They want about sex.
About sex.
Oh,
every time. And when you tell them it ain't about sex, man, the sex is the icing on the cake. That's about that cake.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I love y'all.
Love you, mama.
Oh yeah, and sorry for the porno.
Honey, you got it going on, baby. That body look like you, okay? Oh. Baby, you got it going on. I was like, well, they perky and everything.
A little excitement every now and then, sure.
That sound like my cousin. Talking about how you get breasts like that. Yeah, girl, what you doing looking at my breasts?
They was just standing there like, hi. I'm like, what? I want those. Can I get that?
Africa, we don't have no bras and no
That's right, mama. Tell the truth. All right.
Peace.
That's freedom right there.
Mama.
Okay,
I love it. I
just wanted to share that, one thing about it is that we don't own our bodies. These bodies are barrels. So how you gonna govern somebody else?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And your soul is yours. You'll never, you when you marry someone and you connect with them, you are giving a part of your soul. You are connecting soul to soul. That belongs to you, no matter what they do. And I know that from experience. Most of you, well, those who know me already know, but in the spirit of transparency, I was in 3 monogamous marriages. I've been married 3 monogamous times, right? None of them worked out in a monogamous way. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned through those experiences that men have a nature, they are primal, wired to want or to desire or to have more than one woman. And until I really accepted that, like really owned it, I was miserable. You have to own and accept that fact. If God wants a man to populate the planet, he has an instinct, a primal instinct in him to populate the planet. He's not going to necessarily just keep that desire with you. I'm not saying it can't happen. I know there are people out here who do it. That's not what I'm saying. But please believe, just from my 48 years, and I don't know everything, but what I do know is that even if a man is in a monogamous relationship, he's still thinking about it. He's still, there's something in him that still leans in that direction. Whereas for a woman, not so much. We don't have that instinct as much. It's easier to find a woman who's just not interested than it is to find a man who's not interested. Okay. So that's just a reality that I think we have to embrace and we have to accept. And even though I'm now more open to different lifestyles and ways of thinking, my third marriage kind of forced me into that idea of I can love someone and let them go and let them love someone else. And you know what I'm saying? Not still be with them, not still be connected, but having to learn how to love them in the space that I'm in and not interrupt the space that they're in, not my business, and still love them the way that I need to. So this has been a very interesting conversation. The other thing I wanted to point out, I have my little notes here real quick. Sisterhood is important when it comes to this type of lifestyle. The women have to be secure with themselves in order for this to actually work. And then the man has to be of a certain caliber. So, he has to have standards and morals and, all of that good stuff before it could even work. There's so many layers to it that, like y'all said, sex is the icing on the cake. Child, y'all got to get through all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy, but marriage is a business.
Can I add to that, Mama?
Please do.
Because when I wanted to shout when Mama was talking about the relationship between the women, because what I can tell you as a man who was not always non-monogamous, the worst thing that could happen to you is when two women that you love meet and you didn't plan on the meet. And then you got to stand in that room, or you got to stand there and try to come up with the truth when you haven't rooted this relationship in truth. Or even if, I'm saying, even being a man who's been in a relationship with two women who, if it's not if it's not peace in the home, and it's hard with one woman with ain't peace in the home, if it's two, oh brother, you better be your steps better be right. Your steps better be right. You better stand on what you're supposed to stand on, and you better bend when you're supposed to bend, because it don't get easy. And I think that's the biggest thing. Is like people think of this as like a selfish or a greedy concept. Oh no, sir. You gonna have to manage. You are responsible in a sense. You're responsible for maintaining a healthy relationship with more than one person in a space. At the same time, you can't move selfishly or shadily. You know what I'm saying? You have to be moving like Mama said, with some principles about yourself. And it's got to be, it can't always be what you want. You got to be moving up here.
Mm-hmm. It really, to me, makes a man stronger. If he really takes it serious, it can make him stronger.
He's gonna have to. If you're serious about it, then you talk about family, because now you bring children into this picture. And even if the relationships transition into looking different, I would have loved to hear Mama talk about her relationship with those children now, where they are now. Because again, to me, the best part of it is all of my children have relationships with these mothers. Those are different ones. There's the one who all of the children, they know they're gonna eat when they come over here. And you know what I'm saying? There's one who, it's beautiful because it just adds so much texture, so many layers to the family dynamic. Mm-hmm. And again, that's my favorite part of it.
Come back on Wednesday tomorrow, because Mama Yaba has her own her own podcast on Wednesdays. So if you come back on Wednesday, she'll be talking, and she's supposed to, I think Queen says she's going to do an actual segment on Poly.
I'd be interested.
I don't know when, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't know tomorrow, but yes, she is.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Prostell? Because we're going to pivot this conversation. Anyone have any other questions? Please do so now. Jump on in. Doesn't matter what it's about. Don't have to be about this.
I just wanted to say thank you for him coming on and in and opening up his life to us and sharing that information.
Yes.
His life and his baby.
My babies.
Yes. Thank you. So now that I want to always leave us with something that we can actually use and work with. So Prostell, and all of us can share in this, and please ask your questions, but begin to give us, how do I want to put this? I can put it in different ways, but I guess I'll just say it the way it comes to me. What is it that you needed to become the man that you are from the women in your lives? Or what is it that you discovered you needed from the women in your lives to become the man that you are today?
Boy.
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Oh boy.
I need
What
a
does that
whole
mean?
list of what it is that we do or did or are doing to help you, support you.
I think to go all the way back, I think women by nature, I think everybody by nature, but you know, as a man, I enjoy relationships with women, and women are our reflection, they're a mirror. And you know, I've grown a lot in my relationships because of what's been reflected back to me. A lot of times ended up, especially early on, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the experience I wanted. And I mean, it's kind of two ways, because the mirror, you know, the mirror works when you I can look in the mirror now and be like, okay, I need a haircut, or I need a fade, I need, so that challenging feedback, you know, came back. And what's interesting is I just had the thought to say, early on, it was kind of, you know, toxic. It would come very aggressively. But to be honest with you, even that was valuable because it let me know I didn't want that. So then I started looking for something different. Now on the other side of the coin, I have some beautiful and powerful women in my life, and some in romantic relationships, some not, who saw me in ways that I didn't see myself yet. I would venture to say I probably have always been like what I am at my core, but like that mirror, you know, without that mirror, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Even if was literally physically looking in the mirror, like I could see my actions and I could see what I was doing, but I didn't see the total sum of it. And I think the beautiful thing about women is, you know, you guys have an ability to kind of see things for what they are sometimes, even if you may not necessarily understand the how or the why. And I'm saying that it's not, but I'm saying, like, you know, there are women who've been like, you know, there were big moments in my life and maybe I felt like, man, I don't know if I'm big enough for this moment. And you know, I I have a really good friend. I'll shout her out. Her name is Sani. She used to, matter of fact, she used to own the Black Hole back when Mama Shu had it.
Oh, I
But
know.
she I got asked to do this, and this is all women. So a sister of mine had lost her son, and he was a young man. He was in his, you know, early 20s, and I felt, she asked me would I do the eulogy, and at the time, in my mind, I wasn't doing anything in my life that matched that request. But you can't say no to that. You know what I mean? I can't be like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. But I felt this sense of weight. Like there's this young man has, you know, this is such a critical moment in her life. And she asked me, and who am I for her to ask? And I remember Sani said to me, she said, you may not know who you are, but I know who you are.
Mm.
And you can do this. And just that simple word was like, it just hit me in my core. Mm-hmm. And not only did it serve me in doing that duty, it, you know, it continued to serve me, because even the sister asking me to do it made me question, maybe I need to start looking at myself different. Mm. Maybe I need to start approaching these relationships I have with my community different. And you know, I mean, it's like you grow up. It's like the what's that, Lion King? You know, Simba doesn't realize he looks just like Mustafa until somebody points him to the water. Mm-hmm. And he realized, like, oh, you're not, you know, you're not this, you're that. And I think just the women in my life, again, romantic and otherwise, just have always, you know, reassured me. You know, sometimes not so nice. Sometimes mm-hmm. like, hey, you going to work? You know what I'm saying? You said you was working today. What's up? And that, I think that reflection, that truth, even when I didn't feel like it served me. And that's probably what I'm most grateful for in my relationships with women. I'm not saying I always agreed with the reflection, but it at least gave me something to work with. Other than, you know what I'm saying? So I'm great. That's what I'm most grateful for. That's what served me the most with the women in my life. It's just reflecting back to me.
I say. Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions? Because, you know, I got tons of them. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask. If not, I'll ask my next question. Oh, we gonna get as much juice and tea out of this as we can.
Okay, this is Deidre. I was wondering, when you have multiple people, how do you deal with it when you do want to be more physical, but they don't? You know, I mean, I know we talked about freedom, so you probably accept whatever they decide to do, but I was just curious.
I pout.
No.
Tell the truth.
No, I'm
Shout
kidding.
out.
I think, yeah, that's interesting. And I was just having this thought earlier, is that when you get into a relationship, you know, it's common. It's common that when you're in a relationship for a while, sometimes that spark changes. But it's kind of like, because she's your woman, she knows when you're about to shoot your move, so your move ain't quite what it was when y'all first started dating, because she know, like, oh, here he come with this foot rub. Like, I ain't going for the foot rub today, brother. And I think it's twofold. I think it is, like you said, it is respecting that, you know, she's a whole human being, and she may not necessarily be in the same space emotionally that I'm in, and respecting that. But also, I think it's also necessary to, you know, be new and constantly, because we are constantly evolving, and the things that, you know, I liked 4 years ago might not be the same things I like, but that goes for her too. She might be interested in a, you know, and I think, you know, we haven't talked a ton about sex, but I think people's sexual appetites also evolve and change as time goes along. And I think, you know, understanding that she might not want the exact same thing she wanted when y'all first dating. So staying tuned, tapped in, and kind of seeing where, you know, she is, and hopefully making a connection to that, you know, as opposed to just, you know, I want it. And, you know, I mean, you know, it's not many more greater gifts a woman can give you than her body. So it's like, you know, you got to rise to that. You can't just be like, it's not owed to you. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay,
it's the maturity for me. Go ahead, Deidre. I'm sorry.
No, I just was thanking him for sharing what he did. But go ahead and finish. What did you say?
I just said it's the maturity for me. Like,
okay,
this dude, you mad mature. And that's, I think, for me being single and in the dating pool, that's the biggest challenge, is maturity. These men, even at my age, are not mature or wise. Those two things are very important, maturity and wisdom. So the fact that you have that and you're able to display that is awesome to hear. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, ditto.
Gratitude.
Anybody else have any questions? Oh, I know y'all have questions.
I do, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh, okay. That's why I'll be writing it down. So the subject for the most part today was about Black men and their mental health, and how we can support them. So how about we pivot into that direction, and you share with us from your perspective of, especially, you know, having the lifestyle you have, where you love women the way you do. What have you learned about your mental health and what's important for you as a man, and what you receive from a woman in real life, in real terms?
And what I received from a woman.
What is it that we can do what is it that you've learned that we do or can do to support your mental health?
I think one of the things I'm most grateful for, you know, in my relationship now, is that even though, you know, we might have differing levels of affection at times, right? And sometimes it's simply mood, right? Like, I might come in and I want to be affectionate, and she like, you know, I'm trying to finish this email, get off me. And then when she want to be affectionate, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be bothered, but I think that I'm very fortunate to be in a relationship with somebody who respects the same thing, but the other way. Like, sometimes I need my space. You know what I'm saying? 11 kids, the relationship, all these other things that we're working on as people. Sometimes I just need to sit on the porch by myself, and, you know what I'm saying? And maybe, you know, after that, I'll feel better. But knowing how to see that. And I think in relationships in the past, that's something somebody, you know, might take personal. If I need space, they would take that personal. And I think just giving me the space to recognize, like, oh, okay, he's, you know, overloaded or whatever it is. I don't even really know what might be going through her mind in those moments, but it's, you know, it's understanding that, okay, he needs to get away. Or sometimes kicking me out the house, like, you got to go out, and you need to go do something just for you, or you need to go hang out because, you know, we do have a tendency to care to the point of our detriment sometimes when we're in relationships, because we feel like we have to, you know, if they come in the room and they're upset, you know, first if they don't want to talk about it, we're gonna have an attitude like, well, why don't you tell me what's going on? Like, why can't you tell? Like, and now we arguing, and they was already in a bad mood. So it's like being able to give each other the space to process things and trust that once we're ready, we're gonna come back and we're gonna communicate. I think that's been the biggest thing for me, just giving me the space to process things in my own time, and understand that it's not. I'm going, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this is my best friend. So I'm going to talk to her about it. You know what I mean? Like whether it's her or something outside the house, 9 times out of 10 ain't got nothing to do with us. But, you know, she knows I'm at least going to, even if I'm just quiet and brooding, she knows eventually I'm gonna say something. And I think giving me the space to do that has been very invaluable. Knowing, I think it's an act of love to know what your person's kind of go-tos are, you know what I mean? So knowing like, oh, he likes this, you know, he needs this type of food. He needs, oh, you know, if a person drink, like, oh, let me get you a drink or whatever, you know, whatever your things that you do to process, you know, knowing that and supporting that person in that, and again, give them the space and not making that about you, not making that about like you're sad, so this is about me. Like, no, you're sad, and you know, I'm here, I'm available. And if you don't want to talk, that's okay. I'll be patient with that too. But encouraging, you know, and also hold me accountable. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one thing I think we do a good job of here in my house is, you know, you said you were going to do this for yourself. Have you done it yet? Because, you know, we're going to support each other, but I can't do the work for you and you can't do your work for me. I mean, my work for me. So it's like, you know, I'm not going to browbeat you. But, you know, you said you was going to do this thing. You said you been to the doctor. You said you was going to the doctor. Did you set that appointment yet? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, set the appointment. We're not going to argue about it. I'm just reminding you.
Absolutely. I think men are, you know, the man cave is real. And men they from the marriages that I've been in, you know, what I have learned is that they value their space. And if you can give it to them, things will turn out a whole lot better than if you try to crowd them and make it happen and get the answer right away and all of that. So thank you. I put the notes in the chat, by the way, ladies. All right, Queen Aduni has a question.
Yeah, I wanted to know, this is a common statement within the sisterhood. Do you as brothers come together to have conversations like this?
Yeah.
And I generally find that brothers, men don't talk about their feelings and stuff with other men. I don't know that as a fact, you know, but do you, I mean, and do you know of brothers that come together besides church? You know, they'll have a men's thing or men's conference and stuff, TD Jakes, that type of thing. But on where is that camaraderie with the brothers around emotion, about life, not sports?
Oh man, that was my out. You took it away. I can say that. So in a personal sense, yes, because on a communal sense, no. Because I know of a lot of sister circles. I know a lot of sisters get together. So when we did the mental health fair in April, it was really, that's why one of the goals was to start a men's circle, because these spaces just don't exist for us, particularly as Black men, you know, who live under a very specific set of circumstance, to come together and say, hey, I'm sad about this. Hey, I'm frustrated about my relationship. Hey, I feel insecure about this. And now the good news is I found out about 3 other circles. There's a men's circle they do at Pride and Pillar every Sunday. There's a video conference that they do it's a group out of Philly. And then Sasha Center has one. They're off season right now. But myself and a couple of other fathers are starting a father's circle in particular. And to be honest, we, like myself and the brothers I'm close to, we've included this into our regular conversation. So even something simple as saying, brother, I love you before we get off the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that even for a long time, even me and my father didn't say. Now me and my sons say it every time we talk, and it's normal to them, but I recognize the bridge. Like, my father and his father weren't saying that when they was on the phone with each other. And me and my father didn't start saying it until I was well into manhood, and we realized, like, oh, this might benefit us. So we got used to saying it. But you know, so that's part of the job, is normalizing it. So now the brothers I talk to, you know, we do all generally call for a purpose, but before we get into the business, you know, or even after we get into the business, bro, how are you? How are things? How are things? How are you feeling? You know what I'm saying? What do you need help with? Because, you know, that vulnerability of acknowledging that you need help, acknowledging that you're sad about something, acknowledging that you're not happy in your relationship, or you know what I'm saying? You're just depressed, and you don't know why you're depressed. But to feel safe, and I honestly, it's also one of the great things that came out of this event for me, was just developing those relationships with brothers that I already respected. But when we started creating the spaces, you know, we started. The thing about it is like we were saying earlier in the conversation, this isn't coming from outside of a need. This is coming from inside the need. We're creating these spaces because we stressed out. Because I need somebody to talk to, and it can't always be my woman. And you know what I'm saying? Somebody got to relate to what I'm saying.
Preach. You better.
So
preach.
it feels good, because it's like it's coming from a place of need. We're not, you know what I'm saying? This isn't a philosophical or a theoretical. This is based on how we're actually living.
Awesome. Thank you, Prostell.
No, thank you.
No,
Seriously.
thank you.
Fine.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, so unfortunately, we are at the end of our show. I am so grateful. I'm so full from this conversation. How you ladies feeling before we go?
Awesome.
Thank you, Prostell.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prostell. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thanks for just being so open, so very open, and talking about topics that generally is never brought up, you know, and you share so freely that it's comfortable now, you know, that we don't have to make judgments on when we see sisters. That's why I asked Mama Ayaba, could you talk about, she had popped it in her when she's talking about her life. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, can you just do a show, or not, you know, just teach about that? I would love to know, because the first thing is about the sex. Oh boy, I know they having and also the issues of, you know, who's the big mama, who's, you know, you just think about all that, the arguing, or, you know, and stuff like that. So I would love to, when she's going to do that, and she shared some of it today. So that was good. But coming from a brother, I can look at the sisters and process it differently, even though it's still my mind going in whatever, you know, things it goes through, as all of us do. But thank you for being so open, and thank you for caring and taking care of your children.
Yes, thank you so much for being the father that you are, for showing up. I really appreciate that. And thank you for accepting my invitation to come. I really appreciate it. Hey, babe. How are you? Which one is this?
This is Avery.
Hey, Avery. Heard a lot about you. We appreciate you. Ladies, I put in the chat the pointers that he gave, so you can check those out. What can a woman do to support a man's mental health? Respect his space without taking it personal, giving each other space to process things in his own time, trust him to figure it out, know what is his go-tos or what his go-tos are, and support him in that. Not making it about you. So, you know, let his space be his space, honor what he's going through, and be supportive in that, and holding him accountable. And do your work, ladies. Do your work while he does his. Super, super important. So I personally got a lot out of this conversation. I'm quite sure the Elizabeths here also got a lot out of the conversation. And this will not be the last time we have a conversation. So be expecting another invitation from me in the near future on some other stuff. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate this time. And I appreciate all of you ladies too. So take a deep breath. Exhale. Tap in with yourself, check in with yourself. And one word is all it takes. One word to close everything out.
Learned.
Learn.
Understanding.
Gratitude.
Connection.
Peace.
Empress, what you got?
Gratitude, thankful, grateful.
Yes. Michelle, would you like to share your one word with us?
I'm gonna say enlightening.
Enlightening. And I'm gonna say empowered. I feel so much more empowered to support my son, to support my mate in my next relationship, to support my brothers, my male friends who I have in my life. I feel so much more empowered. I don't feel like I'm kind of like guessing or just getting it out of a book. You know, the way you explained it, Prostell, was very articulate and very clear and to the point. So it helped a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. I don't know where Het went. She the host. Where's she at?
She said she had to go deal with family issues.
Okay, we understand. We hold sacred space. All right, y'all. So you know what to do. Love on yourselves, because you got all you need, baby. Ha! Love on yourselves. And y'all have a beautiful Tuesday, wonderful summer solstice. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all, get to that water. Get out there in that sun. Today is the longest day of daylight in the year. So enjoy it. I love you all.
Love you.
So much. And I'll see you on Monday. Peace.
See you tomorrow.